have a quorum.
up next, but we're just waiting for a couple of errant councillors. They're on their way. So, but if you want to set up, Ross, we can help with that. Yep.
I think the chair should have to make a shout
No.
every minute people up.
Now you have a quorum, you can
I
start.
was, four shouts, righto?
And there was 3 this morning, so it's 7 now.
7 shouts.
Time ago.
I'll be bankrupt. Bloody kids will go hungry, Rick.
He's worried about that. It's your responsibility, not ours.
Have we got a quorum?
Yep, you can go.
Well, they're not too far away. Okay, Ross. Welcome, and good to see you here. This is the Wairau Destination Playground. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened that it wasn't received at this end. Just need to explain that to councillors that this, while it comes in new, it was sent in the time frame, my understanding. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we're here now, and welcome. So,
thank you.
So how we do it? 10 minutes.
Yep.
It's a bit. We set a timer, and we've got a lot of people to get through today.
Yep.
We'll still
Okay.
be going at 6 o'clock tonight. So
I'll keep it brief.
please, yeah.
Yeah.
But if you want questions, please fit them into the 10 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
So is everyone here?
Yeah,
go
we've
for
got a
it?
quorum, so you
Okay.
can start.
So my name's Ros Thomas, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Wairau Young Achievers Trust today. Thank you for receiving our submission and allowing us the opportunity to speak. Unfortunately, we did have a little bit of a problem with the extra additional information which we have brought for you to have a full copy for your reference today. The Wairau Young Achievers Trust made a submission to the Hawke's Bay Regional Council annual plan in 2014 for the same purpose, but we did not speak to that submission at the time, but some of you may remember that same project. The Wairau Young Achievers Trust is a successful trust based in Wairau, and it was established in 2004 with a particular focus on youth. The trust runs the Cactus program at Wairau College. It has Ministry of Social Development contracts with NEET, which is young people that are not in education, employment and training, and also YP contract, which is with young parents, and that's with the aim of getting them into training and employment opportunities. The Trust has project managed a number of community facilities, including the Lambton Square Sports Ground upgrade and the Sir James Carroll Memorial Walkway. We've been spent the last 2 years working with the Playground Committee, developing Wairau's Destination Playground, which will be situated in a prominent part of the town, alongside the Wairau River on Marine Parade. It is anticipated that Wairau's new playground will generate significant social and economic benefits to the district and provide a safe, fun place for children and their families of all ages to enjoy. Positive activity will assist in developing community pride and connectiveness throughout our community. It will also give people travelling through Wairau a reason to stop, play and spend some valuable dollars into our town. Extensive consultation with community members and stakeholders have been carried out, and this will continue as the project progresses. We have really good letters of support from Wairau Tai Whenua, from the Hawke's Bay District Health Board, from Wairau Moana Māori Trust Board, from the New Zealand Police, most of our schools, and also a lot of local businesses. The Wairau Young Achievers trustees believe that Wairau's Destination Playground fits within Hawke's Bay Regional Council's long-term plan criteria, particularly in regard to the 9 community outcomes and within your strategic goals, which include a resilient economy, economic development and investment, resilient communities, open spaces, community engagement, safety and community partnership. Compared to other districts in the Hawke's Bay region, Wairau has the highest proportion of young people aged 0 to 17, and so Wairau Young Achievers Trust is particularly committed to this group of people. The Trust does not expect Hawke's Bay Regional Council to solely fund this entire project, which is going to cost a total of $450,000, but we are asking for a contribution of $100,000 for safety matting and fencing, which is an essential component of this playground. The Wairau District Council has committed $100,000 to this project, and they have recognised it through community consultation as a significant issue in our that we lack recreational facilities. The Trust has also applied to other external funding bodies, and these applications are looking favourable at this point. The Playground Committee itself has raised $10,000 through local fundraising ventures. It's very, very hard for a small town like Wairoa to raise these funds alone. And I'd like to just reflect back to the Wairoa Community Centre as a great example of how both councils and external funding bodies can work together and contribute positively to the betterment of this region. Thank you.
Thank you. So, questions? Councillor Bevan.
Yeah, thanks for your presentation. I'm sorry we got this so late, we haven't had a chance to look through it. Can you tell us a little bit about the trust, the reason why it was formed, I know the trustees' names are here, but they're not all familiar to me.
Right, so I at the beginning, I just sort of explained through that. So it was 2004 that it was established, and it had a particular focus on youth. So now we run a lot of youth programs, which is the Cactus program, which is run through the Wairoa College, and also we have Ministry Social Development contracts, which is a lot of our young people who they leave school and they don't have any education, they don't have any training. It's the NEAT program, and also young mothers, and so working with them to help them get into employable situations. We do a lot of project management work too. So we've worked with upgrading the Lambton Square Sports Park upgrade, the Sir James Carroll Memorial Walkway. We do smaller things like the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, and whatever is needed in the community at the time. We helped Wairoa Athletics get up and going. Now they're their own entity, but they were under our umbrella for a long time. Waka Ama. So we support where it's needed.
Other questions? Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Ms Thomas, for this report and on the work that you're doing. You referred to the community centre in Wairoa, and of course Regional Council did put funding into that, as they put into funding on a number of areas around the region. Are you aware that that was a one-off community facilities funding as part of the use of leasehold land that had been freed up to use some of that for other purposes? So that money is now fully committed and gone.
Yes, we do. We do understand the situation, but we also believe that going forward, that for us in our communities to work and gain, and get these infrastructures in place, we need to work together. So I think looking into the future, into your long-term plan, we would like you to consider it in the same way.
Yep. So you would support a re-establishment of a community facilities fund?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. But you're pushing it out into 2 years from now.
Well, we're particularly focused here on the playground, but I think that if the Hawke's Bay Regional Council was to have that fund available for this region for community development, I think it would be a fantastic fund.
Recent announcements in the budget talked about tourism infrastructure. Are you looking to try and tap into some of that stuff? Some of that $12 million fund that's just been announced?
This is through the
through the national budget. Yeah,
it's always an issue because you've got to match it dollar for dollar, and so the actual playground committee have only raised, on their own, 10,000, right. And the Wairoa District Council have contributed, but that council can't apply for that fund itself. So we would only be able to, we'd be hard pushed to probably get some funds from them.
Is that something we could help with though, perhaps? Apply on your behalf?
No, I think we're capable. We can do that. We can apply for it. Although, having said that, it would be stronger through the Regional Council, or alongside. Yeah.
Okay, that's useful. Other questions? Councillor Barker.
I was intrigued by reference that this project came up to council some years ago.
Yeah.
I do recall it, and I'm not sure. Could you tell me why you think we didn't get around to addressing it properly?
I think because we didn't speak to the submission, and I think that there were a lot of questions that needed to be answered that submission couldn't answer in the piece of paper that you're given. Since then, we've done a lot more community consultation. We've put a wish list out to all our kids in all the schools, so we know exactly what they want, which is really good. We've also obtained letters of support, so we know we've got a whole community behind us, and so we've also looked at with the existing playground, incorporating and keeping that and working within that area. So we've managed to obtain a lot of information since that 2 years ago, which has been helpful.
And I'm well aware that Wairoa has a free Wi-Fi service in the CBD. Is the Wi-Fi service pretty good at where the playground is proposed to be?
Yes, it is.
So that's a plus. The parents can do their notes and...
Yeah, if you, every day that playground is used, and it's a really crummy little playground that's sitting there at the moment, and it doesn't cater for our older kids at all. There's seating, and the seating is a little bit sad, but there are always people, and they are, like I say, they're visitors and they're locals that always stop there, to have their lunch, and so it's a really, really lovely place. And I think that when you go over the bridge, if we can attract people by seeing something really exciting, it will definitely rejuvenate our Marine Parade area.
Very quickly.
This is a really fantastic idea.
Thank you.
Do you have someone that's hitting all the community trusts?
Yes, we are. That's me.
That's
so
you.
At the moment, we have an application in with lotteries for 100,000, and that's one of the requests they've asked is that we just get our accounts audited, but it's looking favourable. I shouldn't speak too early, but we'll find out in the next month. We, with Eastern Central Community Trust, Transpower, and then some others that we are able to tap into. So, and they're all aware that those applications are out there. So that will be the shortfall. And then, obviously, First Light, yeah.
Thank you. We're out of time. Thank you,
Thank
Ross.
you very much for your time.
No. Thank you for your submission, and we'll be deliberating tomorrow on all this. We're hearing all day today. Okay, June Graham. Now, June, is there one of you or two of you? Because I see you. So can we deal with both submissions at the same time, do you think?
Well, I'll just go on from one to the other.
That's
as
fine,
time
yeah.
allows.
Yeah.
I've timed it quite carefully,
Okay.
so I hope I don't get reprimanded.
Well, I hope you don't need to get reprimanded,
I hope so.
Ms. Graham. Yeah, absolutely.
You've got a copy of this presentation.
We do, yes. So, and welcome. The time is yours.
Right. As you know, my name is June Graham. Greypower has a membership of over 1,000 people, and as one of these, I wish to express their concerns. We support Council's plan to reopen the Napier to Wairoa, I suppose I should have said Gisborne Railway line. We prefer keeping the Wellington leasehold land, property rather, option A, as it brings in a regular income which helps to keep rates at a reasonable level. Our members question where the income received from Napier leasehold properties to the ACC is directed and what that income will be used for and where it is held. Many members have environmental concerns for the protection of the Ahuriri estuary from pollution, not only from the industrial estate, but also runoff from the roads in the vicinity of the wider area to these wetlands. I suppose the roundabout at Watchman's Road is one that is being drawn attention to. Good work is being done by Council at Waitangi, but there doesn't seem to be recognition of the same importance and delicate nature of the Ahuriri estuary. It is, after all, the northern gateway to Napier, well, to Hawke's Bay, really, I suppose. There is wide concern that the Napier City Council concept plan for Pandora Pond and its effect on the sensitive wetland area. We commend the Ahuriri Protection Society for their commitment and their work over many years, and we support their submissions from members for this hearing. We appreciate Councillor Dick and Anne Redgrave's meeting with our committee re the gold card change to funding. Our talks were informative and productive. We wrote giving our support in principle for their decision. There are still some concerns re future charges, for example, Auckland's ticketing process, but we are getting a new ticketing process within the next few years, I understand. We do not support the Napier City Council's velodrome concept plan. I know you're not in charge of that, but you have been asked for funding. I assume that'll go out to consultation. Road safety was always difficult for the elderly, and people with disabilities. Crossing roads is becoming increasingly dangerous for the slower members of our community, not only the old elderly like us. Cyclists get more publicity for their rights and safety than the urban pedestrian. Pedestrians share the footpath with children and teenagers on scooters, skateboards, as well as mobility scooters and adults on cycles. We need to encourage more consideration and courtesy for the pedestrians on footpaths. We live in a fast-moving society. As you get older, the printing gets smaller, the mothers get younger, and everything moves at a faster pace. And unless used... Now, where did I get to? I better start that one again. We live in a fast-moving society, and less users consider others who may not see, or hear well. Accidents are going to happen. We would appreciate your Transport Committee discussing these issues with your members to draw their attention to our growing concerns. Thank you. That's grey power one. Now I'll change my hat to my personal hat.
Absolutely, and we'll save some questions for the end.
Well, I hope you don't have many.
Ms. Graham, a couple.
Questions always frighten me a little bit. Now, you haven't got a copy of this, but when I've finished, I'll hand out a copy. Oh dear.
Can I take this out, future?
Oh, that'd be great. Oh no, don't hand it out till afterwards in case they don't like it. Again, I'm June Graham, submission number 71. In my personal submission, I listed my concerns, which are much the same as grey power. I won't repeat these points as they are in your copy of that presentation. I feel very strongly personally about our Hariri estuary and its value. I go back to the days when there was an old footbridge, so I go back a long way. I will speak to the amendment to the long-term plan 2015-2025. I chose option B. I must be an oddball, but I agree that with C as well, so I really am a no-no person. To make a choice at all was not an easy decision, so I asked myself, is this a waste of my time? I suspect the decision will be the 5-4 vote as usual. The process for the Ruataniwha scheme for me has been like walking on shifting sand or spitting in the wind. However, this submission is the only way I can speak to you as a captive audience. It's the only time I can get you all together and really have my say, but that's democracy. I'll say that again. How this submission is the only way I can speak to you as a captive audience to express my doubts about the viability of the Ruataniwha scheme, but in particular the current proposal. The supporting accountability documents refer to benefits to Lake Fatuma. Refer in this document here, this one here, refer 2.1 and 2.2. As far as I am aware, this area has not been part of any consenting process, nor has a consent application been made. So I don't see that it comes into this particular hearing at all. For me, it has been a flawed process. I am of the opinion that there are better alternatives for the use of this money. No alternatives have been offered. I have come to the conclusion that the voting pattern of this council over time does nothing to allay my fears that again we could see this proposal approved by 5 votes to 4. In my opinion, it is the 4 councillors in this equation who consistently make the most sense and ask the most pertinent and searching questions. Thank you for your attention. You can hand it out now. I must admit that I wasn't as forceful as Megan.
Right, questions, Councillor Scott.
Thank you, Ms Graham, for your submission. I'd like you to clarify, having said that you supported B, which was to buy the water, presumably as it moves to full uptake on the spot market at market prices, as your preferred option, and yet you then also support C. Can you clarify why you think that option B would be more financial prudent planning than knowing in advance that you're getting it at a lower price.
First of all, I don't believe that we need a water contract.
Okay.
And perhaps I'm a very simplistic thinker, and I thought when I try to visualise flushing flows to start with, and I equate that with Aotearoa Rapids. I think I've said it before, and that's very, very different from the flushing flows expected here. Mother Nature will always, in the end, have her way, and so I don't have a great deal of faith or trust in the dam for that reason. But apart from that, nature flushes the river every so often, not as well as we would hope, of course, but how will I put it? When I imagine the flushing flows, it might only happen once. We might need it only once. There might be floods of events every few years which flush the flows. If we need one occasionally, surely it's cheaper to use $1 million that particular year, using it. So I don't know whether that makes sense or explains.
I guess it didn't really answer the question, which isn't about the viability of the dam. It is about the benefit of accessing water in low flow periods such as summer.
I believe nature does flushing flows herself. So if we need the occasional extra flushing flow, I feel it would be cheaper. I might be wrong in my logic, but that's how I felt. But I don't. Somebody asked the question earlier, and somebody else, about did we object to paying for it. We pay for flushing flows anyway, whether our dividend is reduced or not. That's public money, isn't it? So we're going to pay for extra water if we want it.
Thank you. Other questions? One quick one somewhere.
Ahuriri estuary is going back to Te Hapu. Do you think that'll make a difference in terms of improving it? Because I agree with you. I went for a walk there and wasn't that impressed recently. Do you think that'll make a difference, having the
It's a difficult and tickly subject, isn't it? Maoridim's owner of running of the lagoon. I feel it needs a wider range than just Hapu. And forest and fishing, isn't it awful when you start stuttering? Ahuriri Estuary Protection Society has a wide knowledge of that estuary, and they would like to be involved. They are involved to the extent that John Sheen represents us on the working group for Tyne Street Drain. But that's really not sufficient. Unless it's worked as a group of collaboration, I suppose is the word. It only presents one side. And to people like me who have lived in Napier all their lives, there are a spiritual link to the land that sometimes isn't recognised in the other world of Maori.
Councillor Dick.
Well, thanks for your submissions, June. And it will raise those matters with the Transport Committee.
I'd appreciate it.
Now, just so I'm clear, in your personal submission, you're supporting option B. That's right, isn't it?
Well, I've come to think about that again because I thought C was a bit ambiguous, but obviously I'm at odds with everybody else. So in a democracy...
It doesn't mean you're wrong.
Not necessarily, I just see it in a different way, and perhaps I'm not seeing it as clearly as other people see it, I don't know. Because as you see, I don't answer questions very sensibly sometimes.
No, that's fine. But with the Grey Power submission, that supports option A.
Grey Power didn't take a position on it.
Didn't they?
No. We kept well clear of that because we didn't have a full consultation within our group. And if you mention it to your peers, mostly you get
I see. All right.
raised eyebrows.
Well, thanks for clearing that up for me. Thank you.
Okay, further questions? Final comment, June?
No, just to thank you. I wasn't as forceful as Megan, I know, but I must support her in her view. There's an election coming up, and so this is a particularly important decision you have to make. And I do sometimes, when I sit at council, get a bit vexed at some of the presentations from the Ruatanipa HBRC. But that's, and I sit there and I can't say anything. But I defend his right to say what he does.
You can today.
Mhm. Thank you. Well, that's the beauty of it. And this is a rare chance that doesn't come very often, does it?
Well, as always, we enjoy having you here, June. Thank you very much for your submission and talking to two of them. And we'll be deliberating tomorrow, and I suspect we may see you here. So
11 o'clock.
11,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
I wish my answers were more clear to the question.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now we have Whangawehi Catchment Management Group, Pat O'Brien.